Okay, so a while ago, I don't even know how long it's been, at least a few years. I think it was almost near the beginning of my channel. I did a Unpopular Opinions Once Upon a Time edition. I also did Disney and all that stuff. But I figured, you know what? Let's take to the fans. So I found this article on screenrant.com of the 9 unpopular opinions according to Reddit, Once Upon a Time edition. And I figured, you know what? Let's go through it and see how many of these unpopular opinions I agree with and how many of them I disagree with. Let's go. Belle is a Mary Sue. Okay, so for those who don't know what a Mary Sue is, a Mary Sue is basically a term that's used to describe like female fictional characters who are almost like they're too perfect and therefore they're kind of boring because they're perfect. Like they don't really have any flaws. Like they're basically just a too perfect, almost boring type character within fiction. Although I'm sure a lot of people use the term Mary Sue to describe people in their own lives. But the term is for fiction, at least as far as I know. All right. Let's continue. Reddit user Maddie Banana Fana expresses multiple unpopular opinions about Once Upon a Time. I gotta go check this Reddit user out then, because that could be interesting. Such as shipping Emma and Neil. Oh, never mind. And finding Hug bland and boring. That I can get on board with. Yet it was their thoughts on Belle that stood out the most. The Reddit user thinks Belle is very Mary Sue-ish, and her storylines aren't very accurate. To what? Because ultimately none of them are very accurate. But I digress. We're going to continue. However, this is something that isn't particularly accurate, as Belle did have flaws. There were certainly moments where Belle showed the darkness that lied within her. Not only did she choose an object over Anna's life, but she was also the reason why Anna was captured by the Snow Queen. That's certainly something that doesn't sound perfect. Okay. Do I agree? I think there are times where Belle is very much a Mary Sue character. I think there are times where but I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say she's a Mary Sue for being like flawless. Like I think she's more leaning towards the Mary Sue side of being boring sometimes. Like there's a lot of times where it's like, why is Belle here? It's not all the time. Like there's a lot of times where Belle is, you know, a good character and a fun character and everything like that. But I think I'll agree with the Mary Sue aspect of being boring, not so much flawless. But yeah, I think there are definitely times where Belle's a Mary Sue, but I think there's times where almost everybody's a Mary Sue. So Snow and Charming got worse as the show went on. Now, before I even read on, yes. Okay, here we go. Snow and Charming are meant to represent true love. Yay! Which is why this point of view might sound surprising. Nope. Reddit user MiniCook97 admits that they started to dislike Snow and Charming as the series progressed. But user Hefty Rain 7 responds and says, this actually isn't too unpopular of an opinion as they changed too much. However, this feels a little bit unfair. Naturally, as the seasons progress, the characters have to develop and change, otherwise they would feel one-dimensional and unrealistic. That is true. By exploring the darker sides to Snow and Charming's personality, they became objectively better in terms of complexity and more relatable. That is also true. I think that's not the issue for me. I think it's when they went into the darker side, when they went and they're like, yeah, we took Emma's darkness, we put it in Lily, we sent her through a portal, like, we did bad things. I was like, okay, they're finally interesting. It was when they were, you know, the Mary Sues of everything, where it's like, we're perfect, we're happy, and it's just, I mean, maybe it's because I spent most of my adult life on soap operas and I just love drama. Not so much in real life, but in shows and stuff like that, I love drama, and Snow and Charming just weren't dramatic, and I get it because they're true love. But I think just as a couple, as characters, when they were written too perfect, I was like, I don't like this. But I think for me, I had the most wild ride with Snow White, because Enchanted Forest Snow White, as an adult especially, I really loved her. Like, I think her, you know, going up against Regina and everything like that, I loved that. And then when we got to Storybrooke, in terms of season 1 Mary Margaret, even season 2 Mary Margaret, I was like, where's Snow White? Where's Snow White? I want Snow White. Which is why I love the quote when Regina's like, we don't need Mary Margaret, we need Snow White. And I'm like, yes, we need Snow White. But I think they became very boring after a while, because it was a lot of the same, and the same was a lot of nothing. But yeah, I did like when they explored the darker side to them. I do love that. I love, you know, them as characters at specific moments in their lives. But yeah, by the end, I was just like, okay, they're fine. Like, it didn't even become like a hatred or a dislike. It was just, you're fine. Which is almost worse. Because then I don't feel any sort of strong emotions for you. And yeah, it's kind of worse. But I digress. I will agree with this opinion. Emma and Hook don't have chemistry. Okay, now here's the thing. I will say I am not a Captain Swan shipper. I do not ship Emma and Hook. I don't know why. I don't know if I would go as far as to say they don't have chemistry, but let's read on. Out of all the romances on Once Upon a Time, fans loved watching Emma and Hook's blossom. Depends on who you ask. Their slow burn. I'm sorry, they're what? I'm sorry, they're what now? Because I did not see a slow burn. Maybe it's because I plowed through the series. That could be my issue. I will admit that could be my issue. The early show, I plowed through that. So maybe that's where I'm missing the slow burn. But anyways, enemies to lovers romance is a huge part of the plot and enjoyed by most of the audience. Yeah. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. However, Reddit user wings underscore and underscore horns disagrees with the majority and writes that there's no chemistry between Emma and Hook. Wings underscore and underscore horns, me and you, we're sort of on the same page. They continue to say that Emma should have ended up with a fairy tale character, but that's kind of what Hook is, but okay. Which isn't an unpopular statement. It's only made controversial because most viewers believe Captain Hook fits that role. I mean, yeah, by that logic. Emma and Hook are such a major part of the show that disliking them would make the series hard to stomach. I guess I didn't dislike them that much because now I'm questioning whether or not I disliked Emma and Hook. I know I didn't like them, but was it a case of like Snow and Charming where it's just like I don't really feel anything? That might be it. Because that last statement where it's like, yeah, they're such a major part of the show that disliking them would make the series hard to stomach. I'm like, it wasn't really the case for me. So now I'm questioning everything. Now I'm having an existential crisis. Okay. Yeah, I think the idea of like Emma should have ended up with a fairy tale character, we got that with Hook. Hook is a fairy tale character from Peter Pan. And then it leads me to wonder, what other fairy tale character would you have wanted Emma to end up with? Because I know for me, I have a long list. Most of them are gay, if we're going to be honest. Like Regina, Elsa, yes. But if we want to go the Emma is straight route, then I think I would have rather her been with Pinocchio. August. Not child Pinocchio, because that's weird. But like, yeah, adult Pinocchio. I don't know. I really like them. I don't know. I just have an existential crisis happening right now. But I will agree that I do not like Captain Swan. I won't necessarily agree that they don't have chemistry because I think they do. It's just I think the way it was written and everything like that, I'm like, I don't want to get behind this. Oh, my existential crisis right now. Okay, we're moving on before I literally lose my mind. All right, here we go. We have arrived at probably the most unpopular opinion. Season 7 isn't that bad. Now, if it was season 7 was actually good, that might kick this over the top to like the most unpopular opinion. But season 7 isn't that bad. I would have to agree. When a show is coming to an end, viewers don't want to go into the final season without the characters they know and love. That is true. Therefore, it's understandable why so many people dislike Once Upon a Time Season 7. However, Reddit user TGG, I'm sorry that I butchered that, feels differently, and they post that Season 7 isn't actually that bad. Season 7 actually isn't that bad. I would agree. While the story had potential and could have been successful as a new series, the point is that it was no longer Once Upon a Time. Many Once Upon a Time viewers believe the show should have ended with Season 6, since it wasn't the same without Emma, Hook, Snow, and Charming for them. They had become more connected to the characters than the world, so their absence was felt in Season 7. I I agree with all of this, which is a very weird position to be in. Because, yeah, I think, season 7 would have been good if we had more seasons. I know, everybody doesn't want more seasons, but season 7 could have actually been really good if we had more seasons. A spin-off of Once Upon a Time. That's fine. But I think because it was only one season, it was like, why did we do this? Like, why was this done? Because the show could have ended a season earlier with everybody that was on the show previously in their final roles. The show should have ended with season 6, but season 7 wasn't bad. That is my statement to this. Contradictory? Maybe, but that is my statement. Graham was Emma's true love. You mean the dude who was on for like 5 episodes? Okay. If we say so. A Reddit user, you're not going to tell me who, believes Emma's true love was Graham and wished he could come back to the show. That was not going to happen. Given that Once Upon a Time fans didn't know several things about Graham because he was only featured in a handful of episodes, yes, this is definitely an unpopular opinion. There's no doubt that the two had chemistry, but he died so quickly that it was hard for viewers to become emotionally invested in their relationship. The actor landed the lead role in 50 Shades of Grey. Good for you. Which pretty much ensured that the actor wouldn't be coming back. When the show first aired, many fans agreed with this viewpoint. But as soon as Captain Hook was introduced, all of Emma's other love interests became irrelevant. We just have to bring it to back to Captain Swan, don't we? Okay. I will say that Graham and Emma had chemistry. I did enjoy them for the very brief time that we had them. I don't think I can go as far as to say that Graham was Emma's true love. I don't think I can go as far as to say that because of the fact that we had so little time with them. And I get it. For a lot of people, it's like we don't need a whole lot of time to know that. But I'm not one of those people. I need a lot of time. I need a lot of time with a couple to like fully realize that they are true love. So we didn't get that. Graham was Emma's true love. I think I'm going to have to disagree with this one. For me, anyways, because I needed more. I needed more to know. But that's just me. Regina is horribly written. Compared to? Look, I'm ride or die Regina. So this is going to be really hard. Many fans feel that Regina had the best character arc in Once Upon a Time. Better than some. I don't know if I would say best, but whatever. She started out as the main antagonist of the series, but had been crowned the good queen at the end. We don't talk about that. However, a Reddit user, again, not going to tell me who, thinks that Regina's character is horribly written. When she rips the evil queen out of her and sends her away, they believe the show is trying to blame Regina's behavior on someone else when evil queen is part of her that she created. Yes. 100% before I even move on. Yes, I agree with this statement. I love Regina. Ride or die Regina. I agree 100% with that statement though. Because Regina is a fan favorite character and her development is usually praised, there probably aren't too many viewers who agree with this. Regina may have banished the darkest part of herself, but she accepted it was put there because of her own choices. Yeah, I think that choice of separating the evil queen from Regina was the biggest mistake the show made. I'm gonna put that out there. It was the biggest mistake the show made. Because it was, for lack of a better word, stupid. It was a stupid plot. Because you had Regina throughout the middle of the show. Season 2, she kind of went on this roller coaster where she was trying to be good, but then she slipped back, and then trying to be good and slipped back, and it was like a roller coaster. Season 3, she, started, I think, on her path to good. And we saw her be good throughout the show. By the time we got to the let's remove the evil queen from Regina, she was already at that point where she progressed from villain to hero. We didn't need that, and I think it would have been more compelling if they had just left it alone. But yeah, by her removing the evil queen, it was like, it was not a separate personality that she had. It was her. And it felt very much like the show was like, it was not her. It was not her. It was not her. It's fine. It was just this bad part of her, and she removed that part. No. Look, are we all as drastically bad as Evil Queen? No. But we are all capable of doing good, and we are all capable of doing bad. And a lot of us go through our entire lives doing both. Maybe not to the extent of the Evil Queen, but we are not perfect people. We do bad things. We have to deal with the consequences. We don't have some sort of serum that like removes the evil part of us. Like, it's there. And part of being human is learning not to act on those bad thoughts and doing good. So the show, which had gone that route, with Regina being like, I'm trying to be better, and getting to that point, it's a plot that really irks me, because I am ride or die Regina, but this plot was stupid. It was stupid. And I don't like it. And I think there was a lot of different ways that it could have been more compelling and more useful. And they didn't do it. So, I digress. Is Regina a poorly written character? No. Was this plot a poorly thought out plot and therefore poorly written? Absolutely. I will agree with that. But I will not agree that Regina is a poorly written character. Peter Pan isn't worth the hype. Yeah. Okay. Peter Pan is believed by many to be among the best villains in Once Upon a Time. Okay. Unlike the Disney movie, the show turned Peter Pan into one of the most diabolical antagonists the characters had ever faced, while Captain Hook becomes a hero. We love the show for doing this. Reddit user stubble_sandwich holds the opposite opinion and states that they don't understand why everyone loves Peter Pan so much. The actor has been widely praised for his portrayal of the character, as he manages to encompass the anger of an immortal in a child's body. Like most fans, the user loved the Netherland. Okay, Screen Rant, I'm gonna need you to fix this because it's Neverland. I don't know what Netherland is, but it's Neverland. Arc, as well as the concept of Evil Pan. But they thought the reality of it fell flat. But Peter Pan drove the Neverland arc and it couldn't have existed without him. If it's not broken, why fix it? Okay. So, I'm of the mindset where I love that Peter Pan was evil. Because there's always something off with Peter Pan. Yeah, always something off with him. So making him evil, it's not a far stretch. And I love that. I think Peter Pan was a good villain. I don't think he was among the best villains in Once Upon a Time. He was a good villain for the Neverland arc. We're good. Beyond that, no. Would Peter Pan have survived being a villain through multiple arcs? Like we saw with Regina, like we saw with Rumple, like we saw with Zelina, like we saw with Cora. Whether you love or hate those characters, they were villains from multiple arcs. They overarched. I don't think if we had Peter Pan like that he would have been amongst the best villains. I think he was good at serving his purpose with the Neverland arc. Beyond Neverland, not so much. So much so that I forgot that he showed up again in season 5. But, yeah, Peter Pan was a good villain for Neverland. Phenomenal actor. Loved that. But beyond Neverland, he wouldn't have worked. And in terms of best villains in Once Upon a Time, I think he's there with sort of the one season villains. Where, all right, you served your purpose. You were good. I mean, you were evil, but you were good at being evil. And we move on and we kind of forget about you. That's my thoughts on Peter Pan. So I think I agree. Yo, I swear I did not look at this list when I mentioned this earlier. August and Emma should have been together. I swear, guys, I didn't look at this list. I did not know this was coming. But I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one. Okay. When it came to season 1 of Once Upon a Time, there were many potential romances. Yay! One that certainly grabbed some Reddit users' attention was the budding romance between Emma and August. Reddit user _man_diva says that they always felt it should have been August and Emma together. You know what? Me and you. We on the same wavelength over here. There were definitely moments early on that made viewers believe that it was the route their relationship was taking. Yeah. However, this remains an unpopular opinion because their short arc together wasn't all that memorable. For who? Because it was for me. A few episode arcs simply can't hold a torch to Emma and Hook's seasons of characterization and development. I guess. Most fans haven't forgotten either how August had already played a major part in Emma's life by making decisions for her without her knowing, such as his attempts to get Neil to leave so she could break the curse. I mean, look, was he a perfect character? No, but neither is Hook. So, as far as I'm concerned, I still get to play. Their relationship wouldn't have worked in the long run. Says who? I'm not getting off this ship, okay? Yes, August did some manipulative things. Yes, August lied to Emma. So did Hook. But I digress. Neither man was perfect. Emma wasn't perfect. Nobody was perfect. That's why we love these characters, because they're not perfect. But yeah. Look, I'm going to ship who I'm going to ship, and it's going to be August and Emma. If you are a Hook and Emma shipper, that's okay. We still welcome you. We accept all ships on this channel. We accept them all. We may disagree, but that's okay. We accept them all. This is a very welcoming space. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Normally, I don't plug a subscribe in, but it felt right in that moment. Rumpelstiltskin shouldn't have been resurrected. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, let's read on. Rumpelstiltskin is one of the more controversial characters in the show because his character was so untrustworthy. That's why? Because I'm like, there's a bucket full of people who are also untrustworthy. Okay, whatever. Rumpelstiltskin did die. That's right, he did. But he was eventually resurrected by Belle and Neil. Kind of forgot Neil was part of that plot. Oops. Reddit user Brian Beatty13 claims that Rumple should have stayed dead after his death in season 3. This is pretty unpopular. This is a pretty unpopular opinion given how many viewers are attached to his relationship with Belle. That's not what I'm attached to, but okay. No matter how bad he may be in terms of morality, there's no way the show could have survived without his presence. Rumpelstiltskin assured that there was always a constant threat, which is necessary for a drama. I agree. I think, when we think of Once Upon a Time villains, and we think of who was the villain of the show, we think, naturally, Blue Fairy. No, we think Rumple. Unless you're me and then you think Blue Fairy, but whatever. The show would have been very weird and very different if Rumple had died in season 3. Like, it would have been weird. It would have been very, very weird. Who would have been the big threat? Because sort of by that point, Regina was coming around to the side of good. And I mean, yeah, I guess we could have had Regina sway back to villain, but who would have been the big threat? I mean, I guess we were heading into the Oz arc, or we were in the Oz arc, so we had Zelina, and Zelina was there. But could Zelina have been a big bad throughout the show? I love Zelina. I love Rebecca Mader. I don't think she could have been the Rumple of the show. I don't think anybody could have been the Rumple of the show besides Rumple. Because Rumple was the most untrustworthy. Like, he would be your friend one minute and then trying to kill you the next. Like, I don't. Now I'm trying to think whether there was anybody in the show that could have been a Rumple. Could have been the villain, the constant threat, the over-looming presence. And I'm just not seeing it. Also, then fast forward to season 7, if we didn't have Rumple anymore, the only two returning actors would have been Lana and Colin, and I love them, but I needed more. Like, we had Lana, Colin, and Robert, and I was like, I need more. I need more familiarity. So if we had lost Rumpel in season 3, then we would have lost Robert Carlyle in season 3, and therefore when season 7 rolled around, we wouldn't have had him around, and so we would have only had 2 familiar faces, and that would have been the choice. So I don't think I agree with this. I think Rumpel should have been resurrected after his death in season 3. Because, one, season 7 wouldn't have been the same, but also, who would have been our Rumpel? If you have any guesses and any thoughts of who could have been the Rumpel of the show if Rumpel had died in season 3, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm stumped. I'm trying to go through the characters that we got, and I'm like, I don't think any of them could have filled that role. I don't think any of them could have filled that role. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you know who could have filled that role. So that is the end of the list of 9 unpopular opinions, Once Upon a Time edition, according to Reddit. Everybody's favorite place. Let me know, what did you think of these unpopular opinions? Did you agree with them? Did you not agree with them? Let me know which ones you agreed with, which ones you disagreed with. Let me know any other unpopular opinions that you have that did not make it onto this list. You can also check out my unpopular opinions by clicking the eye in the corner. I think it might be this one, but I am not sure. Yeah, my list of unpopular opinions. There is some overlap, maybe not to the extent of this, but there is some overlap. I will tell you that right now, like Captain Swan being... But... yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments down below.